operative attitudes are mandated, including attitudes which significantly seem to bolster a eugenics agenda in the mind of the child, such as the attempted normalizing of homosexuality and playboyism, and abortion as a form of birth control. Providing a hint of what the future of American education is going to be like is a Goals 2000 program that has been adopted in 40 states, the Parents as Teachers program. It is a program that would be more aptly termed the Teachers as Parents program. Under this plan, children are given a personal computer code number by which they can be tracked for the entirety of their life, and a parent educator visits the homes of students a minimum of 8 times a year to see that mom and dad are giving Junior his tranquilizers and doing their bit in programming a good little robot. Another offshoot of Goals 2000 is the Oregon option, which was signed into being on December 5, 1994 by the entire Clinton cabinet and members of the Oregon congressional delegation. This program was developed by the administration of former Oregon governors Mark Hatfield and Neil Goldschmidt, and it was drafted under the direction of Goldschmidt, a member of the Trilateral Commission. Persons backing the plan include members of the Council on Foreign Relations, the World Bank, the Carnegie Foundation, and the RAND Corporation. One of the main thrusts of the Oregon option is to seamlessly transition children from school into the industrial workforce, with apprenticeships provided by large corporations. Again, under the Oregon option, all children conceived in Oregon are entered into a huge database. All expectant parents will be required to attend parenting classes. Once the child is attending school, home visits will be undertaken by school teachers and administrators to determine if the family is fit for rearing the child. Those families deemed to be unfit or offering developmental neglect can be ripped asunder, with children shunted into foster homes or state-run facilities. Furthering the goals of these social planners, perhaps the most destructive current trend of the educational establishment is the wholesale drugging of students. Drugs, especially amphetamines and Ritalin, are commonly used to dose school children throughout America. Ritalin is a highly dangerous stimulant that is, according to the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration, more addictive than cocaine. It also has a wide variety of other negative side effects, including nausea, insomnia, the inhibition of growth, nervous tics, and potential brain damage. So there it is. There's your state-sanctioned drugs that are pushed upon the populace. Never mind that there's a war on drugs. Well, at least the drugs that they don't want you to take that are going to fucking open your eyes to their bullshit. A current estimate of the number of U.S. school children being drugged with Ritalin is 3 to 5%, or in excess of 2 million kids. Since most of the children to whom the drug is given are male, it has been estimated that 10 to 12% of all male school children in the U.S. between the ages of 6 and 14 are being zombified with Ritalin. This drugging is being done because of alleged brain malfunctions that cause the children to be hyperkinetic or hyperactive. In most cases, the children have been diagnosed by their teachers, almost none of whom have the medical credentials to do such an assessment. The main problems that drugs are supposedly used to handle are classified as ADD, attention deficit disorder, and ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. These conditions have in fact never been proven to exist outside of the imagination of medicos and sociarists, but instead are catch-alls that include a wide variety of common childhood problems, including inability to concentrate, nervousness, fidgeting, interrupting people, and disciplinary problems. No consistent brain abnormalities have been demonstrated to be linked to ADD or ADHD. Although brain disorders including cortical atrophy have been shown to have been caused in some cases by long-term treatment with Ritalin and other drugs commonly prescribed for these children. The symptoms that educators are treating with drugs may in fact have nothing to do with congenital brain defects, as they have argued, but with a number of other less mysterious factors, including poor nutrition, fostered by parents either too poor or irresponsible, or dumbed down themselves to provide decent food for their kids, encouraged by a criminal food production industry more intent on moving cheap, sugar-coated, chemically dyed, pesticide-poisoned swill than in providing healthy food. Sugar, pesticides, and chemical additives may be a key factor in causing what is termed ADD and ADHD. And now we can add genetically modified foods, genetically modified organisms to that list. Television and other media. Kids are estimated to watch 6 hours per day of an electronic medium deliberately designed to foster a short attention span, with quick 3 to 5 second visual cuts purposely stimulating the kind of artificial agitation that induces a child to respond to commercials. Is it any wonder that these kids have a short attention span? Another negative aspect of the pop media is the abundance of sexual and violent images disseminated via TV, movies, hyper-violent video games like Mortal Kombat, and music with violent sexual gangsta ghetto rap. There are many studies showing that when television is introduced to a community, that violent acts double over the course of a few years. As an example of the character of current media that is aimed at children, while waiting in office recently, I was surprised to find a depiction of full female nudity when I picked up a Batman comic for the first time in many years. Far be it from me to put down female nudity, but such images are certain to provide a potent distraction to children entering puberty, as well as to encourage a eugenics-friendly playboyism of the kind advocated by Hugh Hefner, himself an admitted acolyte of eugenicist Alfred Kinsey. Families who have taken the Dr. Spock or New Age amalgam to heart are another source of problems in childhood discipline. For a kid whose role model is Tupac, Ice-T, Kiss, or Marilyn Manson, and whose fantasies are fed by the quick-cut, toxified kink of MTV, time out is not going to be an effective disciplinary action. Little parental contact with kids at all. The prevailing economy, regardless of the praises of Rapegate Bill, and as we know, this was written back in the 1990s, early 2000s, when we still had Slick Willie as our president, and the fucking economy was sailing along, even though that debt bubble was continuing to grow. Something that all of a sudden now we care about. Most of this is designed so that both parents usually have to slave full-time, leaving very few moments for contact with their kids. The situation of the single-parent family is usually worse. And now in today's world, even people who aren't married have to work 2 and 3 jobs, myself included. So that that goes to show you how far down the fucking line we've come. Finally, there is a problem with the nature of public schooling itself, which does not challenge children to learn or to think creatively, but instead indoctrinates them to conform to their prison-like surroundings. I personally would not like to endure again the circumstances of regimentation and immobilization, sitting at an uncomfortable desk with hands folded and mouth clamped shut for hours every day. That children are forced to put up with in public schools. I would also not relish again being forced to drag my eyes over and memorize deadly dull texts that no sane adult would ever read if given a choice in the matter. In circumstances like these, it's no surprise that any child with an ounce of wit or energy would rebel and begin to longingly ogle his father's gun cabinet. These are some of the real causes of ADD and ADHD in school, symptoms for which children are being treated with Ritalin and other addictive drugs. A dramatic example of the results of drugging children may have been played out on April 20th, 1999, in Littleton, Colorado, when 2 young men in black trench coats systematically killed 12 of their schoolmates and then themselves. Eric Harris, one of the shooters, had been turned down from joining the Marines a scant 5 days prior when they were informed that he was being prescribed the psychiatric antidepressant drug fluvoxamine, or Luvox, a chemical relative of Ritalin. The American Journal of Psychiatry reports that our observations confirm the efficacy of Luvox in the treatment of depression, but suggest that this drug can induce mania in some patients when it is given at a normal dose. The coroner's report showed that Harris had therapeutic levels of Luvox in his bloodstream at the time of the shooting, and friends of Harris state that the young man was attempted to quit using that drug in the days prior to the shooting. There is no indication that the drugging of children is going to diminish in the near future.